Well, I can use my personal experience as an inroad to answer that question. I taught, after receiving the PhD, I taught for 15 years, mostly in the United States, back in the 20th century. And then for the next 15 or so years of my career, I worked in administration. I was still in the education field, but out of university teaching. When I returned to teaching in February of 2012, everything had changed, and it had changed because of digital technology. So that how I prepared for classes, how I did my research, where I found materials. The library was no longer the physical library, but the digital library. Everything had changed rather dramatically. So at SUNY Korea, much like other institutions, in introducing the current uses, most productive and best practices for using ICT, we faced, I think the major problem is that every individual on our faculty is somewhere on a continuum when it comes to an understanding of digital technology. For example, being able to sit down and record a video lecture for use in a flipped classroom setting. Some of the faculty would be familiar with Camtasia or other software packages required to record that. Others might need help in training. So this, I think, the training and the preparation of individual faculty and staff is the biggest hurdle, and that is an ongoing process. But we've addressed that with our university-wide flipped learning initiative. And I should mention here that SUNY Korea is only about six years old since we admitted the first cohort of graduate and undergraduate students. So we're a very new institutions. But we have recognized that education now takes place in a new digital ecosystem with MOOCs, massive open online courses, with free availability of what used to be textbooks in a library are now available over the internet, and I could go on and on. It's a totally digital environment. So we've opened up a dialogue among the faculty to talk about what we're terming flipped learning. A flipped learning is a buzzword, very flipped learning or flipped classroom. But what we're really doing is taking a broad approach to what should pedagogy for the 21st century look like. And we've had some very interesting sessions and discussions, and I'm hopeful that at SUNY Korea, because we're not bound by the old Oxford, Cambridge, or Ivy League rules of how you build a university back in the 20th century, that we can really incorporate ICT effectively into all aspects of our education. Well, first, in response to that question, let me state that I realize there is this matter, if you look globally, of the digital divide, that ICT infrastructure is still not equally distributed around the world. However, the spread of mobile telephony and increasingly smartphones has been more rapid than we all expected. And very soon, within a matter of a few years, everyone in the world will have access to the internet via a smart device. And smartphones are really a misnomer. These are handheld computing devices. And so I think the answer for the poor countries, which have a different level of infrastructure, is going to lie in grasping and fully utilizing the resources that are made available through the mobile internet. And what I mean is that online training, I just attended a session here where a young Filipina woman who finished Stanford 5 years ago and has returned to the Philippines. It's talking about entrepreneurship. And the availability of training for ICT-related skills is something that anyone in the world, just given a signal with access to the internet and a smartphone, could learn to program in Python, or could learn management, or could learn about entrepreneurship and so forth. So I think that the opportunities and the whole ecosystem is going to change the nature of the opportunities for the people in the poorest of the poor countries.